Hi, how are you?
Hi, Tatiana. How are you? I'm
I'm
great.
doing wonderful. I love everything I've seen of Encanto so far. I cannot wait to see the rest. And I believe this is your first time working on an animated project, right?
Yes, in this
For,
capacity, yes.
so, what was that like to see your work kind of being translated? It's almost like the reverse, right? Normally, you're like, I'm bringing something to life from the page, but now you're seeing it go to the page.
Right. Yeah, no, this process was incredible. It was every step of the way was just, it got more and more and more like, wow, like, my mind was blown every time. But, so initially we saw the storyboards of layout. And so we saw this world that we were creating and so then we got to just play and create and kind of do what we do. We would film the references, send it back to the animation, and then to be able to work with the animators like very closely, that was a privilege too, because now I got to see how it went from the storyboard to the layout to our reference to the animation back to taking notes. It got to see the whole journey, and it was so nice. And also, I learned so much about the animation process and how our worlds are similar. You would never think that it's a digital medium or a live action medium. What could we possibly have in common?
Right.
So yeah.
I love that. I also love how there's not just like, even though there is a central character, of course, in Mirabel, there is such a large scale there. There's so many relationships and different characters to factor in. How does that expand your role, having to incorporate like competing personalities and the different, sections of this family?
Yeah, well, it forced us to really dive into each character. We had the images of each of our characters, and we each power and what they look like, what their dresses look like. So we took all of that into consideration when creating the dance for them, the movement for them. And as we continue to move on top of having the amazing storytelling of Lin-Manuel Miranda, which he gave us so much between him and the conversations with the directors, we had so much information about these characters and what they were doing and what their intentions were, and how they would approach a situation. Like, for example, we don't talk about Bruno, how each character, excuse me, would approach their interactions with Bruno and what happened with their interactions. And so for us, it forced us to really dive deep into each character and pull out something unique for each one of them.
Definitely. You can already see just how different everyone is and how much thought went into them just from the presentation that we saw on Monday. Also, there was, they discussed a little bit of the diversity within the Latin American community, which is very important to myself as Latina. And I know you are Colombian as well, right?
Yes.
So there's often so much that gets overlooked in terms of even just racial diversity within this ethnicity. So I was just wondering what it meant to you as Latina to be able to work on a project that really is trying to pull that out.
Yes, I mean, it meant everything. It meant everything, because I literally see the Familia Madrigal, and that is my family as well. I have all shades, colors, sizes, everything in my family as well. So the moment we were also able to hire Colombian dancers also from different parts of Colombia that are racially diverse as well as other Latinx dancers from Cuba, from Puerto Rico. So we had a variety of casts, and when we all saw this, it really touched our heart, because we knew, like, wow, we see everybody. And that is very unique. As a Latina, this was a film that I'm like, wow, I would have wanted to see when I was growing up. And so to be a part of something that the future generations are going to be able to say, wow, look, that's my Theo, and that's my cousin, and it looks like, and that is so big and important, so it means everything.
Absolutely. Another thing it's so much fun to get to see on screen is magic realism, which is something that, I've certainly grown up with, and perhaps you have too. I was wondering how much you already knew about magic realism, or did you learn anything or be able to teach anyone anything during this process?
Yeah, well, I was introduced to magical realism in high school, in my English class. Like, I don't know, many of us, and I was introduced to it, and I was always interested in it because my mother's maiden name is Marquez too. So my last name is Kaidi Martinez Marquez. So I was always like, that's so cool. He's Colombian and we have the same last name. And he wrote this, he pioneered, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, he pioneered this writing style. And I have the book, 100 Years of Solitude. And, I love In Time of Cholera. So I've been exposed to it, but it was always like, oh, this is cool. So to now see it presented on the platform like Disney for now new generations to be exposed to it in a way that is, digestible, that's exciting, that is colorful, I think is something we can all be proud of.
Definitely. I mean, I'm about to curse my children with the name Amaranta when they are born. Welcome to 100 Years of Solitude. But anyway, I love how each member of the family, especially the sisters, feel like they owe something specific to that family and they're struggling with what their role is. How do those respective character arcs influence your personal work with them?
Well, yeah, I think it's something we can all relate to. I think it's something as part of a family, whether Latina or not, we all have family dynamics, and specifically in the Latin community, in the Colombian community, family is everything. And I've had that as well. I chose a path as a dancer and entertainer that wasn't quite the conventional dream that my parents had for me initially. I went to college, I got my degree and all that. And then once I did, I was like, well, I think I want to be a dancer. So I struggled with that for a while of making sure I wanted to make my family proud and questioning, I moved to LA from New York by myself. Is this something that, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing for my family to make them proud? And so then to get a project like this that does not only bring my dance world, but also brings my Colombian culture together, it has been truly, again, an honor, because I feel that it was worth it. I feel that all those things were worth it. And sticking to my dreams and sticking to who I am, it was worth it.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that. Speaking of dance, every character obviously has a different type of movement or style to them. Is there any character in Encanto that you feel closest to, just in terms of how you like to move?
Yeah. So I love Isabella. To me, is the way I personally move. She's very fluid and it's very and that's the more personal to me. And so I loved playing her character. Dolores is also very fun because I love hitting musicality. So being able to play with that was really cool. And then Mirabel for me was the biggest challenge, I would say, because she's quirky. She's a little clumsy. She's not perfect. And as dancers, we are usually very aware of our bodies. We're not going to trip and fall over nothing. So to play her and make her quirkiness come across as human and not choreographed was a bit of a challenge for all of us.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. Yeah, I guess you have to make her not perfect. It's actually hard.
Right.
Thank you so much. I cannot wait to see the final product. So far, everything is looking 10 out of 10. So.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Tatiana.